find a seat next to someone. That's important. And then again, once we do the private volume button, you won't be able to hear the stage. You'll just be able to hear the people in your bubble until Hank turns it off again. So we'll run the private volume stage control simulation here real quick in about 30 seconds. Let me make sure Hank gets all situated to kind of take over the screen. So Hank, do you see the presentation tool up on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So those 3 lines, are you going to try and put slides or something up here?
No slides, but I see the presentation tool.
Okay.
Yeah, when I watch the video, there's 3 lines and those are not there.
Oh, got it. The 3 lines are only if you needed to take control of the screen. But otherwise, here, if you want to hit stand up and just pop up so the stage controls pop up. When you're seated, it might not. So now on the top of your screen, there's a black box that says stage controls.
Okay.
If you hover over the stage controls, the third one from the left, or on my screen is third one, it's called click to turn on private volumes. See that button?
Okay, I'm walking there. I'll figure it out.
Oh, no. So just look to the top of your eXp World screen on your computer. There's a little black box that says stage controls, and then one of them says click to turn on private volumes.
Can you hear me, Curtis?
We can. Yep, we can hear you, Marianne. Hi, Marianne.
Hey, how are ya?
Glad you're up here. Yep, we can hear you loud and clear. When you're talking, everybody in the auditorium can hear you.
Hey, Hank, it's Janny. I'm here to help you with the controls. I know it's a scary thought, but I think I got your back,
Janny
bud.
Burke's here too. Awesome, Janny. Come on up and hang out. Very cool. So let's practice. Make sure we got the stage controls working. So in 10 seconds, Hank's going to hit private volumes on, and it's going to put a bubble around you. Open up your mic and start talking to the people next to you. So 5 seconds. Hank, you got that button. Go ahead and hit ready, or hit turn on private volumes. There we go. So for presenters up on stage, they're on now, right? So if you walked up to the center of the stage, you'd see these little blue dashed lines down here, Hank. That means the volumes are on. You see those bubbles that are popping up in front of everybody's head? That's them talking. So right now they are like literally in that private volume, masterminding, talking to each other. So whatever prompt or guide or challenge you guys give them, when you turn on those private volumes, give them a few minutes to talk through that stuff. And then when you bring them back, what we'll do, Hank, is bring them back by clicking that same button. And before you do it, there's a mute audience on the left-hand side. So you click that and it mutes them all again. So I did that this time, but you'll do that next time. Do you see the mute audience stage controls?
Yep,
Far left.
got it.
Cool. And that's it. So when you bring them back, you mute them. Now everybody can hear you again. Give me a yes in the chat if that worked for you. If it didn't work for you, go find a seat next to somebody and turn on your mic and talk. I'm going to turn it over, guys, to some of the best in the business, the most capable, amazing coaches, agents that we have around that jumped in here on short notice. Hank, thank you for pulling this together. Sean and Marianne, we appreciate you. Take it away.
Perfect. Well, hey, thanks so much, Curtis. What a great honor I had today. Sean Kokosko was actually my first coach when I jumped in, and I know my wife, she looked at me and she said, we are not spending $1,000, and I've had 2 fights with my wife in our 15 years of marriage, and that was one of them. And only 3 years later to have her coaching with Nina Heller without her even talking to me about it. So Sean, so good to have you up here on stage with us, and it's been fun being on this journey with your brother. And then secondly, we've got Marianne Gillespie, who I will argue is in the top 3 coaches that I've ever met. She is a bad blank. I was told I'm not allowed to swear up on stage, so I'll honor that. She truly is one of the best coaches in the country.
Darn.
And you don't sign up for her if you're not ready to hear what you need to hear and get your self in action. So with this said, I'm going to hand the mic over to Sean first. Sean, why don't you give us a little bit of tidbit, and we'll keep it rolling.
Do you just want a quick bio?
Perfect.
All right. Well, gang, first and foremost, it's not about me. It's about you. That's the simple truth. Yet I do want to make a few bold statements today. And as a direct result, I think it's important that I share a little bit of background to kind of qualify some of these bold statements that I'll be making. First and foremost, me and my team, along with my mother, we sold over 4,000 homes in our real estate careers. Over $1 billion in sales volume. Guys, I've started a mortgage company, a title company, a land development company, a building company. 6 income streams on 1 transaction was the ultimate goal, and literally crushed it for a good number of years. And in 2009, when the market shifted, I had over 100 homes under construction, all above $1 million, 16 land developments in the Denver market. in the existing suburbs of Denver, Colorado, and frankly lost everything in that process. And I will tell you that during those times of just despair and depression, it's kind of cold, it's kind of dark, and it's definitely lonely. You have an opportunity to find yourself. And I discovered my purpose, my why, which was all of you, to really add value to you, to help you improve the trajectory of your lives. And I get so much fulfillment out of that. I'll say that that is my purpose. That's why I'm on the face of this planet. And I'm just honored to be here, and especially to be with Hank, who's an absolute rock star. I had the pleasure of working with Hank at a competing company. And in fact, he was a bold coach right along with me. And we had the opportunity to coach together. And I'm just honored to be here. And especially with Marianne Gillespie as well, just a total rock star of the industry. I'll push it over to you, Marianne, and let you take it away.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I love sharing this with you guys. All right, I don't know if you can all hear me, but if you can't, I'm all the way from Canada, so I'm sure you can hear me. Anyway, I didn't know we weren't allowed to swear, so I'll behave. Thank you for the awesome intro, everybody. I love it, and being on such great company. Just a quick notes version about me is, let's see, I like to think I'm one of the toughest coaches in the industry, in the real estate industry for sure. I helped build the #1 market center for a different company worldwide, nationwide, and over 300 agents. We were the first Canadian office to actually accomplish that. One of the top coaches, I work with the top 10%. I love it. It is my niche. I love building things. We've got about 740 clients right now, 15 different coaches, the top coaching programs around the world. And I like to think what we did right now is we just overcame 8 weeks of a program I put together to get clients into production. And we can honestly say that as hard as this last 8 weeks have been, we've been able, every single coaching client to continue with their production. They didn't stop production. They didn't lose money. They didn't do any layoffs. We were able to move forward as a group. And that was one of the hardest we've ever done. So it is my passion. My background is Disney leadership, LP, more coaching destinations you can possibly imagine, but I live, sleep, eat, breathe coaching, and I've 18,000 hours in my back pocket. So whatever we do here, I am just honored to be with EXP today. I think your company is amazing, and I just hope we can bring as much value, share the stage with Jake and Sean, our 2 rock stars as well. Well, there's nothing I can't say how much I love that guy. Memories I have of hanging out with him and the passion and the energy he brings to the table. I'm like ready to get this started. So let's make it happen.
Love it. We're going to jump in, and Marianne, your audio kept breaking up, yet we could hear enough to have it make sense. So here's what we're going to do is, I would love for any questions that you have, because after all, this is Ask a Coach, right? Jake was not able to join us. The reason I asked Jake to come up was he's a coach outside of our ecosystem that helps newer agents. Marianne helps kind of the top of the agents, and Sean and I help kind of everybody in between. Not that Sean probably also helps the top agents. So is my audio also breaking up? Son of a gun. Sean, can you jump in? Your audio seemed great.
Yeah, my pleasure. And Hank, you were coming through loud and clear for me. One of the things I wanted to do today, well, first and foremost, it is all about you. There's no doubt about that. And the topic here is Ask a Coach. So I would love to just have you type into the chat functions there. What questions would you have for people like Hank, Marianne, or myself, who've been around the block a time or two, and we've helped individuals, close in excess of, I'm sure Marianne, like you, I've got clients that close over 5,000 transactions per year. So how can we help you improve your production and ultimately your profit?
So let's start with how you spend your day. I think the most valuable thing is holding your time accountable. I used to be the person that worked 80 hours a week. And when I got to my time blocking and I put it down to 40 hours and I started holding every hour accountable. For example, I spend 3 hours a week on my EXP rev share, and I've been able to build an organization of 535 people net. And I've been able to do that by figuring out the activities that make the math work. I think too many of us fly by the seat of our pants and we aren't purposeful. Marianne or Sean, would you have anything to add to that question of how you spend your day?
I've got a whole book on what you
right
there. Well, as the former president of Keller Williams MAPS Coaching and MAPS Business Training, I had the honor of collaborating with Gary Keller and Jay Papasan in the writing of the book, The One Thing, and then developed all the training curriculum on the back end of that book, all the workshops, all the teleseminar series and keynotes, and consulted with this methodology with companies like McDonald's and Panasonic, FedEx, Sport Clips, T-Mobile, Genentech, GMC, Pepsi, just to name a few, and about 5,000 other companies you never heard of before, yet learned a lot about how to bring it out, how to get the most out of your day. We've got some audio background coming in here. All right, so if you're in the auditorium, please go ahead and mute yourself if you don't mind, just so we don't get background noise. But I learned a ton about getting the most out of your day. You know, the simple truth is, guys, that Pareto's principle applies to this methodology more than anything else. Now, Pareto, an Italian economist, he's studying the economics of Italy. He looks at wealth control, and 80% of the wealth was controlled by just 20% of the population. Then he looks at real estate. 80% of the land is controlled by just 20% of the population. And for you and I in real estate sales, 80% of our results are generated through 20% of our actions. It's really that simple. So it's not about the hours you put into the day, it's about what you put into the hours ultimately. And it's those that, and I'll give you the secret, here you go. It's those that have figured out how to give an inordinate amount of time to the 20% job description are the ones that really crush it in real estate. And that job description is really quite simple. There's just 5 things on that list, right, Hank? It's to practice your skill. Bottom line is, you've got to know what to say. You got to know how to say it. Then, of course, you've got to say it to enough people. So the next 2 things are lead generation, then lead follow-up. Now, to me, those are AM tasks. That is your priority in this industry. To create at least, and I mean at a minimum, 10 conversations every single day. And when you do that from, say, 8:30 to 12 every day, then frankly, I don't care what you do in the afternoon. Go sit on the couch, binge watch Netflix. The simple truth is, though, you won't have time to do that because the afternoon is going to be taken care of all by itself with the other 2 tasks on the list of 5 things that are part of your 20% job description list, which is more appointments and then contracts to negotiate. So to me, it's about taking care of your priority first. And I promise you, your priority does not exist inside your email inbox. To me, there's no such thing as an email emergency, yet I see people treat it that way all the time. See, the moment you open your email inbox, gang, you've now made a conscious and subconscious decision to begin managing everybody else's priorities instead of your own. Now, I trust this makes sense, yet time blocking is one thing. Anybody can time block. Keeping your time block is something entirely different. And I've got some specific strategy on how to do just that. However, I don't want to dominate this conversation. Let's push it over to Marianne. What would you add?
Okay, can you hear me now a little bit better?
Much better.
Welcome to Canada. It's snowing right now. All right, so can you repeat the question because I had to log off and log back in, please?
The question was, how do you spend your time and how do you spend your day? And Marianne, you're one of the most purposeful people that I know when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's the thing. How I like to spend my day is this. You hear a lot of the same things. It's been regurgitated in the coaching industry 100 times. So I like to innovate a little differently. So we use the entrepreneurial time system. Entrepreneurial time system is no different than a sports athlete. I want you guys to think about that for a second. I used to live in a condo and there was 4 units and 3 of them were owned by sports players and professional hockey players. Welcome to Canada. Anyway, long story short, is they had a very systematic way of their life. The best in the breed use very similar systems and they can move from one industry to another. The entrepreneurial time system is brilliant. I work 4 days dedicated, 100% focused. I don't use corporate time systems. I work on a 24-hour clock. I'm an entrepreneur. There's no such thing as a lunch break in my world. So what I do is I start with 1 free day off a week. So no matter what, I give myself 100% play day. It's where I have fun, I relax, I don't get into any kind of work mode, nothing. It's my time because we can work way too hard sometimes. So I also know that the brain needs a break. Okay, so if I'm work mode 24/7, I don't have this type of energy. And everybody asks about my energy. This is where it comes from. I give myself 1 day off a week, free day it's called. 2 days a week I refer to as buffer days. And those buffer days are 100% in administration, systems, models, coaching my team, all the stuff, taking training lessons, everything like that. And then other days, so 4 days a week, I am game on 24/7. And we coach our clients on the same thing. I know if we work 7 days a week, I'm getting so much unproductivity. I'm getting burnout from clients. I'm getting all over their stuff. So what I like to do is use the entrepreneurial time system. 1 free day, play, have fun, go get a life. 2 days where you build your systems, your models, and you really are dedicated to moving all those projects forward. And that's a lot of fun for entrepreneurs. And then 4 days a week, it's find your revenue. Let's go. Lead generate at the highest level, and don't stop at 4 o'clock. Keep going. It's a 24-hour clock. And what you'll find is you mix your weeks up like that, and it's awesome. And so that's how we get through things, and we coach our clients on it, and we see probably some of the best results in the industry when we do that. It's the playtime that you guys forget a lot. So always have fun and play.
Couldn't agree more. Sean or Marianne, would you agree that it's more about priority management than it is time management? And if we have the right priorities in place, we find a reason to get it done versus excuses for not getting it done.
100%, Hank. See, many of us, we work to-do lists, and frankly, I think it's a mistake. Now, it's important to document everything that must be done, yet to work a to-do list is a significant problem because, see, when we get across something off that list, there's an endorphin release, right? We feel good. We feel that we're accomplishing something because we get across that off the list. So inevitably, what we do, I mean, it's just human nature, is we tend to tackle the easiest thing on that list first. Now, sadly, guys, the easiest thing on your list is not the thing that's actually going to move the needle for you or your production. So the bottom line is, rather than working to-do lists, I think we need to all focus on a success list to establish priority. Now, let me pause and let's think about the definition of that word, priority. To me, it's the most important thing in that moment. So given that definition, I think the word priorities is not really a real word, if that makes sense. So rather, let's say you had 25 things on your to-do list. I would encourage you, again, apply Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule. Take that list of 25 and the 20% of that 5, or 25, it would come to 5, if that makes sense. And then I don't know that Pareto's enough. I think you need to go extreme Pareto. You take those 5 things, apply the 20% rule again, and you end up with the priority of the moment, right? Of that moment. And then focus on that. Time block the activity. Say no to all other distractions. Now, let's face it. Saying no to the people you care about, the causes you care about, frankly, sometimes it feels downright self-centered and selfish, right? Yet at the end of the day, guys, and let me help you pull this into perspective. See, I've got 3 beautiful kids, and I never want to say to my kids, you know, I'm sorry you can't attend that college, son, because dad can't afford it. I couldn't say no to other people. I couldn't manage my own priorities. I had to manage everybody else's. And yet, in order to approach your business and your life that way, you must apply leverage to your business. See, once you reach a certain level of productivity, and Marianne, I know you'll agree with this, the only thing that's going to bring you beyond your natural ceiling of achievement, guys, is in fact leverage. And leverage comes in 4 basic categories. It's models, systems, technology, and people. And when we apply leverage, and by the way, in the US today, we live a highly leveraged life. And while many of you are at home and you're relaxing and maybe you don't have shoes on, I know you own a pair of shoes. Think about it. Did you make those shoes? Well, of course not. You applied leverage, right? Meaning somebody else made those shoes and you just purchased them. And it's the same basic thinking that you apply toward business. The 5 things I mentioned earlier. To practice, you can't leverage that. You've got to master it first, right? Now, lead generation, lead follow-up can be effectively leveraged. That's the good news. The bad news is you get to master it first, right? Marianne, I'll push it back over to you. Same question.
Yeah, so great points. And I think what we, first of all, we don't ever focus on things that are not a priority, okay? It slows us down tremendously. And I think one of the biggest things that I look at is if you keep finding that you're focusing on things that aren't a priority, then we want to sort of discover what's holding you back, because sometimes it's really, you know what, maybe you don't have the right systems in place. Maybe you don't have the right models in place. It's not as easy as just taking a can of paint and saying, hey, you're not focusing on your priorities. You know what? It's progress. That's what we work on. We want to make sure that you're continually moving forward. So we have a really easy system around that. All we do is we say, and that's why we divide our client days the way that they are, is we focus very clearly on your day off. Is your priority to build your business? No, your priority is to go and have some fun. So we ask you, we say, what are the 3 things that you want to do on your day off? And we're holding you accountable to that. When the accountability is present, the priorities never don't show up. Okay, accountability is the key here, guys. If you have a big vision and a big goal, yeah, you can focus on 100 different things, but let's narrow it down to what are the 3 things that we can progressively move you forward on. Instead of worrying about everything else, let's hold you accountable to those 3 things. We're not going to eliminate all the minutia stuff, but also at the same token, you have to look again at the leverage portion too. Maybe you're missing a relationship. It's not one size fits all here, but it's really about saying, hey, I'm not going to ask you to ignore all the other things that you might feel are a priority and somebody else might not. But what I am going to do is I'm going to say, are these 3 things in every area, your systems and models, your production, your dollar revenue generating activities, and then your free time, what are the top 3 weekly priorities that we need to move you forward and see actual progress on? And as long as you're hitting those KPIs, those measurables, then we're okay with it. So it's really just an individual, not one size fits all thing. And again, an easy trick is to just go, what are the 3 things in each of those 3 categories that are going to make you feel like you're moving forward? So very, very simple.
It's awesome. It's the unfair advantage that I have that people like Sean and Marianne are my friends, and who you surround yourself when it comes to all of this makes a difference because it'll hold you to that standard. So speaking of who you're surrounding yourself with, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the private mastermind. So when I count down from 3, we're going to take 3 minutes and do this for me. If you've mastered time management, why don't you step up right away and jump in? And we'll go ahead and go for 3 minutes, and we'll come back as a group. 3, 2, 1. Okay, Marianne, Shauna, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Can anybody hear me in the audience?
I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, did the stage controls not work? Oops.
Yeah, we just can't hear them.
Oh.
Bring the room
They
back.
can hear us. We can't hear them. I see the little
Well, then
bubbles
we'll be
in their heads,
quiet.
though, so they're talking. That's a good thing.
I'm going to see if I can load my other computer up. This mic is terrible.
I'm going to bring the room back down just for the sake of filming, okay?
Nick, I love what you said. I'd argue that it's priority management. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's I teach a class called Time Management 365, and I went to change it to priority management, yet time management speaks so much more to what it is. Yet really what we do is we teach priority management.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks,
John,
Thomas.
remember when we had the planner? We sold so many of those widgets at $50 because they thought a $50 planner was going to solve their time management issue.
That's a church.
Hey, guys, as they're trying to
Yeah.
talk to one another, they're hearing you talk.
Yeah,
Almost
my
not.
bad. "45 more seconds."
Can anyone hear me?
Hello, hello, hello. Isn't it?
Brand media. But I think you have to
Can you guys hear me?
business in order to run it. So I'm having a hard time.
Hello,
I would-
hello, ring, ring.
Lost you guys.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay, got it.
Oh man, you guys missed it. What I said was freaking brilliant, and I was muted. So here's what we're gonna do. I went ahead and muted the whole audience. If you were in a mastermind session and you heard something that just hit you up alongside the head and may have done a pivotal shift, unmute yourself and share with us what you heard.
Okay, in the last session, one of the analogies that was said was EXP can take you from a college team to a pro team, because in college you can't really, take the revenue that you make. Moving into EXP, you're able to expand upon your business by conducting revenue share. That was an aha moment as far as the analogy.
Oh, it's huge. You can get paid for things that you're already doing, and they naturally latch onto the chain, right? Great observation there, Paul. Let's get another one.
This is Sandra Miller, and I thought it was great. Not the last class, but for this one, what Mary Ann had said was in the example of how she plans her day, is that those buffer days for administration and training, because so often we feel like we have to add these systems and things in, but if you focus on days for those, then you are able to focus on your days for your revenue, which is great.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you got it. So can I add to that? Is that possible?
Absolutely.
Okay, you nailed it. Okay, so what we see all the time is we see agents, especially now, they're like every day they're trying to do things. They're like, oh, I need to, do a Zoom call every day. I need to train every day. I need to do this. I need to do that. No, how's about you just do that all in one day? Pick 3 things. Like if you notice what we notice with our clients, let's say you want to introduce, let's say a virtual open house system. Instead of spending 7 work days or business days doing it, pick 3 things that you want to do on your buffer day this week that is going to move that system forward. Don't try to do the whole system. Just pick the 3 most things that are going to bring it forward, and then focus on doing that on your buffer day. Now you've moved the project forward. So this way it's very focused, very deliberate, and it's a different part of your brain that works in the on the business activities versus the in the business activities. Very hard to pull the energy when you're lead generating, be like, yeah, I'm going to lead generate, I'm going to crush it, I'm going to crush my CMA, I'm going to crush that listing, I'm going to get the deal. Now I'm going to work on open house systems. It's like a totally different energy balance. So love that you brought that up. You nailed it. Good work. Awesome.
So Marianne, why don't we have you jump in on the question asked by Cheryl? And Cheryl was my first victory at EXP. I worked 18 months, 3 hours a week before I had anybody join. And then in the next 6 months, I had 95 agents join, because I work a thing called the success code, which is skill set, time on task, experimentation until you get a victory, and then you get confidence. Cheryl was my first victory after 18 months of 3 hours a week. And so Cheryl asked the question, Marianne, we'll start with you, then go to Sean. What do you think the key is to the massive success that you have?
The key to the massive, it's funny, I just did an interview with somebody last week who said, how do you do it? And it's not my success, really. What it is that I've been through so much in my life. I've had cancer 2 times. I was homeless for a year. I lived on the street when my family died. And I've done Ironmans. I've lost 130 pounds. I've done Ironmans now. I am just wired to love opportunity, but to love challenges. And I think my perspective is just a little different. I look at things like this and I go, you know what? Like, I see this as an opportunity. I don't look at it and see victim ever in my life. I'm like, I see an opportunity. I want it. And, I don't want to leave this world. Like, I don't know about you guys. I don't want to leave this world. I not operating at the highest level of possibility. When do I know possibility stuff? I don't know. But all I do know is that I'm all in. When I set a goal, I'm all in. I don't expect it to be easy. However, I expect to have a great friggin' time seeing how I develop as a person through it. And I'm just not half at anything. If I'm half at something, then I'm not committed to it. If I'm all in on something, I'm all in. I don't want to be number 2. I want to be number 1. I don't want number 3, 4, 5. I want to be the best version of myself. And that means is that set the goal and I commit to it. And if I don't hit my goal, if I don't hit it, it's not because I didn't give everything I've got. is because I have to keep working on improving. So I'm just all in. That's all.
You want Mariana on your team if you're going into a competitive situation. Sean, what about you, brother?
I think it's just focusing on a rock solid foundation, Hank. And to me, your foundation, especially in real estate sales, and let's just face it, in life in general, your foundation is how you show up to the world. It's how you show up to your clients, your prospects, your friends, your family members. And there's 4 things that really impact the strength, the depth, the width, the amount of steel that's in your foundation. And with the right foundation, guys, I believe you can build a business and a life as big as you want to build it. And the 4 things that impact the stability of your foundation is, first, knowledge. I mean, frankly, you got to know what to do. You got to know what to say. Second are your skills. You got to know how to do it. You got to know how to say it. Third would be your mindset. Now, mindset is absolutely critical, and I know it's overused, especially from the stage. Nobody said it better than Henry Ford. He said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And the final thing that impacts the strength of your foundation are your habits. Now, there's a guy named F.M. Alexander who said, people do not decide their future, they decide their habits. And their habits decide their future. And yet, if we had an honest moment right here in this room, I think most of us would agree that we form habit without intention. We form habits subconsciously. So let's just say something happens, you have a reaction, well, you get a result. And yet by the time we're 20 years old, our mind has had so many exposures, we're on autopilot. So the next time that something happens, well, we have the same reaction. And we brought that reaction to the point of what I call automaticity, and we get the same result. So the simple truth is, guys, in order to get to better, oftentimes we must get to different. See, it's the what, how, and who paradox, as I've coined it, meaning the combination of what you do, how you do it, and who you do it with. Sure, that got you to your current level of success. Now, the biggest challenge is that what, how, and who that got you here doesn't automatically transform into a better combination of what, how, and who that's going to get you to the next level of success. And guys, that's what we all get to do as coaches, as consultants in this industry, is to analyze the what you're doing, the how you're doing it, and the who you're doing it with, and help you tweak and plus that to the point that you can double, triple, quadruple your production in real estate sales. So I think it's about foundation, Hank. It's really speaking to that biblical law that I know you know like the back of your hand of be, do, have, right?
This is my license plate and on my fire pit.
I love it. See, your foundation really is your state of being, guys. See, a lot of people, they choose to compare themselves to others. And I think when we do that, frankly, it kills all joy. They say, well, if I had what so-and-so has, I could do what so-and-so does, and then I could be the person I want to be. That's totally backward. Or they say, if I do the work, then I'm going to have the income. Then, Sean, I could be the person I want to be. Again, totally backward. Guys, it's about being first. To think like the person thinks. Then you'll do what that person does, and you'll eventually have whatever it is you'd like in your life. Yet it all starts with your knowledge, your skills, your mindset, your habits. See, your business, your production, your bank account balance, guys, is going to grow to the extent that you personally grow.
Hey,
and all
Sean,
three of us up here at stage.
John, would you agree that most people think from the standpoint of, well, when I have it, I'll do it and then I'll be it? And that's kind of like having a doobie, right? They're just smoking their dreams.
That's exactly right. Have, do, be doesn't work. No doubt about that. It kills all motivation.
Here's what we're going to do is I want to give just about 30 seconds, then we'll jump into our last mastermind of this call. Is I will say when I finally committed to knowing my numbers, I hear so many real estate agents saying, well, I just leverage that. But you can't leverage what you don't understand. And once I started to learn my numbers and I had the ability to make decisions, see, most people can't make decisions. They self-sabotage or back themselves in a corner until decisions are made for them. And so when I look at my success, it was knowing my numbers and the ability to go from good to great, meaning draw that arrow back with confidence, knowing the math equation around what I say yes to and what I say no to. And I think learning the ability to make decisions versus having decisions made for you is key. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into a mastermind. So get close to someone that you'd like to speak with. And we're going to go ahead and give 3 minutes again on what has attributed to the massive success that you've had. No, success that you've had. Freudian slip there. Sorry about that.
Hi, friend. Hi, Janie. Jenny Burke.
Hey, Cheryl, how are you?
I'm good. How are
They
you
can,
doing?
you know what? They can hear us chatting. Even though they're talking within their circles, they can hear us, so we're talking over them.
Whoops, sorry.
It's okay. Good to see you, girl.
Christiane, we're all in masterminds. That's why.
You need to be seated in order to be able to hear and be in a group, guys.
Thirty more seconds.
Fine, I
All right, we're going to come back together. Thank you so much. The exciting thing is every time we do something, we get to learn. And for future things that you're doing, make sure you're sitting next to someone that you might want to mastermind with, and then that person also has to be present. So let's get two people from the audience that got something or something they heard in the mastermind around what we talked about, massive success. Who would like to start?
Teresa had a good point in our group.
Teresa, can you jump in?
Yeah, I was just saying that the Marianne's, buffer days, somebody said I wasn't quite sure what that meant, and I thought that is absolutely, I don't know if somebody's ever said that to me before, but it never sank in, and now I will not end up going down the rabbit hole and, just really getting lost and wasting time. So that was brilliant. I will institute that immediately.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Woo!
Thank you, Teresa. One more, please.
I think the self-awareness that people have in regards to their foundation, I think most people are just really unaware of what their foundation is, and putting them to task to identify it might help to reveal that. I think that was an excellent point.
Dan, I love that. I think self-awareness is one of the biggest gifts that we can give ourselves. I know personally through therapy and lots of work there, it's given me a lot of self-awareness and emotional intelligence around that. One of the questions that keeps coming up in here is around systems. And Marianne, from my seats in the stands, your systems are second to none. What would you share with us about how you put your systems in place and what's your thought process around executing that?
Such a cool question. One of the easiest books to read about, where we kind of need to go is Rocket Fuel. Like, Rocket Fuel is great. It talks about implementers and visionaries and our roles. When you identify what your role is, listen, every entrepreneur wants freedom. We're not working this hard to end up to not have freedom, and money represents freedom in whatever way. Maybe it's putting your kids through school, maybe it's buying that house, maybe it's investment properties, it's freedom. I am a visionary, and all entrepreneurs usually have a high visionary. So you need to find your implementer. That's the system that misses a lot of the times in what I see. And we do coach like the top, so it's kind of like we know that the best method right now is to have the visionaries and then have your implementer who takes all your ideas and who puts them into play. So we use Asana. So for example, we have filters that we do with visionaries, and we chunk your big ideas, we put it down into manageable steps, and then we load it into Asana, and your assistants take it over. Your assistant should be your implementer. If you're trying to be a visionary and an implementer at the same time, the best example of someone who didn't do that would be Disney, Walt Disney. He had a vision. He didn't execute it. He had his brother execute it, the implementer. So visionary and implementer, if you want to know the best systems, find your implementer so that they can put the systems into play. All right? That's my best system tip for you.
Love it. Mary, thank you so much. Dawn, would you talk a little bit more about the habits and models towards mastery when it comes to that?
Yeah. As I said, F.M. Alexander quote, "It literally changed my business, changed my life," right? And I love what Marianne said about systems. See, first and foremost, a system to me is a standardized process produces a consistent and predictable result. You do it the same way each and every time, modified only for the dominant behavior style of your prospect or client to get that consistent, predictable result. Yet back to habits, Hank. I think it's important to first identify the activities that are worth building habits around. See, the challenge is that most of us, we rely upon discipline and we blame ourselves. We say, if I just had more discipline around lead generation, around lead follow-up, about doing 4 open houses a month or whatever that is, we tend to blame ourselves and we blame discipline. And see, many of us, we've had that disciplined day, haven't we? I mean, you wake up early, you're full of energy, you show up to work, and man, you're just firing on all cylinders. And this goes on for 8-9 hours in a row. You barely have time to go to the bathroom, and you just finish the day and you feel fulfilled, you feel content, you did everything you were supposed to do. That's a disciplined day. Now, conversely, we've all had that day where you show up to work and you feel lethargic and nothing's happening for you. See, the challenge with discipline is it will let you down. I'll let you in on the key. See, Megan Oten out of the University College of London in Australia, as well as Charles Duhigg, the author of The Power of Habit, they've done a ton of research around habit formation for all of us. And their research debunks that old theory that it takes 21 days to own a habit. In fact, that's less than a third of the time actually required. Their research suggests that on average, it'll take 66 days to form a habit. 66 days. Now, here's what I'm going to do for all of you real quick. I'm just going to put my email address in the chat function, or yeah, I'll just do that. It's just sean@iconcoachingra.com. And I'd love to send you a format that literally changed the way that I looked at habit formation. It's essentially, it's 66 boxes. There's affirmations down at the bottom. And once you identify a measurable quantitative action that you'd like to accomplish on a consistent basis, then every day you do that, you put an X on this habit tracker. And what you're really doing is you're tracking your progress toward, bringing that activity to the point of automaticity. I think it's absolutely critical. See, because the individuals who are achieving below average results in this business, frankly, they just don't have the right habits, right? They're not doing the right things day in and day out. In fact, they're mistaking movement for achievement. So go ahead and email me. I'll send that over to you. Yet I want you to imagine a pyramid, or if you've got a pen and paper in front of you, just draw this out. A pyramid about 6 inches tall. And then I want you to draw 4 horizontal lines through the center of that pyramid so that you create 5 sections to this pyramid. And at the base of that, I want you to write the word foundation. And remember the 4 things that impact the strength and width and depth of your foundation. It's knowledge, skills, mindset, and habits. And as we move up this pyramid, this model toward mastery, write in the word pipeline. Now, pipeline is everything you do proactively as well as reactively. This is your Facebook and Instagram ad strategies, your open houses, your business-to-business prospecting. Maybe you call for sale by owners, expired listings, circle prospecting, whatever it is you're doing to identify and earn the business of the prospects in the marketplace today. This also has lead conversion strategies. Now, as we move up this model, see, those of you with tenacity, you'll be in foundation and pipeline, and you're going to break through to this next phase of the model, which I call momentum. Now, momentum, it's a fun place to be. It's also a scary place to be, because agents generally Once they get to momentum, what they do is they get sucked down in the weeds of the business. They're holding the hands of the clients. They're doing the transaction coordination all themselves. And sadly, the pipeline phase of their business just kind of drives up, which is why they had a terrible month in January, but a great month in February. And then a terrible month in March and a great month in April, right? And it's this roller coaster of activity and income. And frankly, it's a very short road to burnout. Now, momentum is one of my favorite words. To me, momentum is one of the greatest magnifiers, meaning when we possess momentum, guys, we look 10 times better than we actually are. And when we lack momentum, we look 10 times worse. Now, fun thing about momentum, when I think of that, I think of a locomotive, right? Hard to stop a locomotive. In fact, a locomotive with a couple of cars behind it traveling at 55 miles an hour, it will crush through a 5-foot wall of concrete that's reinforced by steel and it'll keep going. And yet you take that same locomotive in a stationary position and you put a 2-inch block under one of the wheels, it can't get going at all. So what we all get to do as consultants and coaches is just help you identify the blocks and remove the blocks to get you to this position of momentum. Yet once we get you to momentum, the goal is then to apply leverage to your model as quickly and effectively as possible. And there's 4 categories to leverage as well. Go ahead and write these down if you can. The first is leverage through models. Second, through systems, as Marianne was talking about. Third would be through technology. And finally, it's leverage through people. And at the pinnacle of this pyramid, just write in the word mastery. See, to me, that's somewhat elusive. I feel like the more I know in real estate sales, the less I know. There's 1,000 different ways to be successful. And to me, mastery, it's a lifetime journey. It's those of us that have the ability to erase the board of our achievements every single day and wake up new and coachable and ready to improve the strength of our foundation.
So Sean, I'm going to jump in here.
Go ahead.
We've only got about 120 seconds left. Marianne, would you give us 30 seconds of brilliance followed up by Sean, and then I'll take us out?
Yeah, I'd love to. Listen, guys, the truth is that you got the next 90 days are going to be the most important in your business. Everybody knows I'm a tough cookie, so what I'm going to tell you is just really hardcore advice. You have a chance to be part of an elite club of agents that take the next 90 days in really, really challenging times and crush your goals. Don't let anything stand in your way. If you have a dream and you have a vision in real estate, go make it happen. There's tons of people that can help you. And thank you. I love you guys for having me on this stage.
Perfect. Sean, how about you? 30 seconds, brother.
Well, I'm honored to be here, Hank. And you know, I'd just say, I want to underline everything Marianne said, everything you've said, Hank. Quite honestly, guys, it's a matter of identifying the activity that's going to move the needle for you and your production. Apply 66 days worth of discipline to owning that activity as a habit. Okay, I think that's absolutely critical. And while I'd love to go on for the next 5 or 6 hours, Hank, I'll turn it back over to you. Thanks for having me.
Love it. I'd like you to ask one question. Does the math of your activities even allow you to succeed? What I find with most people is they're not doing enough math to even give them a chance, so they focus on the drama. And so I'm going to ask that you focus on the activities. The micro leads to the macro, and as we're aware with COVID and everything going on, we're a lot less in control of our macro than what we think. So focus on those activities, lead with the right purpose. My friend Shaw Hassey said this to me today. Be a human first. Be kind. And if you're a human first, it's easy to be a salesperson second. So, Janny, I'd like to say thank you for helping me on the tech side, or I should say thank you for doing the tech side. And love your feedback. If you loved us, great. If you hated us, let us know that too. And thank you, everyone. When I joined this company, it was 1,000 agents, and now we're 29,000 strong. And I can't imagine my life without all of you in it. So thanks so much, everyone. Thanks, Marianne. Thanks, Sean. Love you too. And we'll talk soon, everyone.
Love you, brother. Thank you.
Everybody, a big round of applause for Hank and Marianne and Sean. If you don't know how to do that, click the arrow next to your name and click clap. Hank, you know, you're an example of the reason why we're at 29,000 agents. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your willingness to collaborate and just jump in. Sean, Marianne, same appreciation and gratitude. Thank you guys for jumping in, I know, on short notice and making this so awesome. So many agents getting so much value from all this great stuff that you guys have done and brought to the agents in a short period of time. So thank you guys. Hope to see you guys again soon doing this, many more times, guys. This Mastermind track was kind of our kickoff of our Mastermind series. So you're going to hear a lot more about masterminding events and sessions and groups throughout eXp Realty here in the coming months. Make sure you connect with Sean and Marianne in whatever capacity makes sense for you guys. So thanks again. Appreciate you. We did leave about a 14-minute buffer here, guys, 15 minutes between every session, just to give the next group of hosts and panelists some time to get in, get up on stage, allow us to change a couple of slides. If you in the audience need to, take a quick break, grab a drink of water, then you have the ability to go do that. The next session is going to be fantastic. Excited for this next session that's coming up, guys. I'm going to put a couple of things up on the screen, give some folks some time to get into the room. If you're a panelist or hosting the next session, you are welcome to make your way up to the stage now. Just grab a seat in the chairs, or you can stand and just hang out. The survey link, thanks for asking, Tony. Link to the survey. We'll get a link populated in the chat one more time here. Give us just a couple of minutes and we'll drop it in there. And we will be kicking off this next session here in about 13 minutes. Great question, Pam. Thank you. These were recorded. Every session has been either live streamed or recorded today, guys, so you will be able to find them. I'm going to give you 3 directions. Thank you, Theo. Theo dropped a survey in the chat, guys, so you guys can click on that link and complete that survey for Hank's session. The 3 places you can check are the eXp Realty YouTube channel, the Workplace Shareholder Group, and then pretty soon, the University Library Group on Workplace. So all videos, live streams will be available, in one of those 3 places. I was trying to give you guys the YouTube link real quick, and I gave you the wrong one. So I'm going to give you the correct one. You guys situated here. And then the Workplace group is called the eXp Shareholder Summit group. I'll give you guys the link to the chat on that as well. And then hopefully many of you guys know how to find the University Library Workplace group. So I'm going to go ahead and mute out the mics for a couple of minutes, get slides changed, give our next panelists and folks some time to get up here. And thank you again for our previous session hosts and panelists. And appreciate you guys hanging around. Give me a yes in the chat, or you know what, not even a yes. I won't prompt you like that. Give me some feedback in the chat. What are you thinking about today, about the mastermind track, about the sessions? Let me know what you guys are thinking. Feedback in the chat.
Hey, Curtis, I just have a quick question. Are we at the 3 o'clock now on the schedule, or are we up next is at the 4 o'clock? It seems like we're kind of in the middle.
So on Wednesday, if you're looking at the Wednesday schedule, depending on which one you're looking at, hopefully they're all the same. You should be looking at the 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Pacific time slot. This is the last time slot of the day of today, okay. Wednesday. So gotcha. There are going to be 5 concurrent sessions in the 12:30 time slot. And that's what you'll be looking at.
Thank you. I was on the Thursday that.
Yep, that's why the times weren't matching up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Wednesday was a little bit of a unique day in that we had kind of our opening time and kickoff and all that good stuff, guys. And as you can see the slide that's up on the screen, letting you guys know what's coming up next here in just a couple of minutes. It is going to be a fantastic conversation, a historic